All right, Sydney Brown back again. We're going to talk now about the top 10 benefits of participating in memoir writing workshops. So, like we've talked about, workshops are really important because it is one of those things, especially in memoir writing, that you might tend to feel off on an island or in a silo all by yourself. And doing these workshops is a really important part. If you're part of the I Remember When project, you will be able to count on about one a month, and going through that is going to be a great way of getting that the extra training, the extra coaching, and the extra push to keep your needle pushing forward towards your finish line. All right, so number one, expert guidance. When you learn from experienced facilitators who can guide you in refining your writing style and the memoir structure, those things are things that, especially if you've never done it, you don't know how it should be. And though I will always recommend you do your own research as well, you may not have to read 30 other people's successful memoirs to get yours started. Now, I always recommend you read at least a couple because you want to know what the good, successful selling ones look like so that you kind of have a clue of reader expectations. But literally, even if you never read a memoir in your life, you can come into a workshop and get just a guideline of what the writing style and what memoir structure should be, and that will save you hours. Number two, feedback. This is really important because when you receive constructive criticism from your peers and from your instructors, it helps you improve your work. Now, keyword constructive criticism. There are a lot of people, like if you share this with your friends, they may say, oh yeah, that's great, and they may hate it, they may love it. You don't know, because they're your friends. They're not going to say mean things to you. Now, if you have a true friendship where someone can be honest with you, then that's great. But it's still better to have someone give that constructive criticism who actually understands how the structures should be, how your work today compares to where they think you can get. So be careful about who you ask for that feedback. But if you're at a workshop, almost everybody there, even the beginners, have more knowledge than someone might off the street. So it's a great opportunity to meet other people who can give you that feedback. Number three, exposure. So when I say exposure, there's so many thoughts that go through my mind, but what I mean in this case is you're being exposed to a variety of people who have different writing styles. They might be able to share their style. I mean, a lot of the times I will read someone's drafts, and I'll be like, huh, okay, yeah, I because when we're talking about outlines or something, I start to envision this, and then when I read what they've actually written, I'm like, I wouldn't have thought that, I wouldn't have done that, but I like that. And it's that exposure to other people's, the way they think, the way they do things. And the more you're exposed to other styles, the stronger you get, because you get to see what everyone's style is. And then that way, or develop better, you develop your own style. Number four, community. This is something that is super, super important to me. When you connect with other writers in general, but specifically if you connect with other memoir writers, you really create this tribe, your vibe attracts your tribe. And so your common goal of writing a memoir becomes something that glues you all together, and you care about each other, and you want each other's success, and you want to get to know each other. They want to get to know you, they want to help you, and you obviously want to learn and help them as well. So that sense of community in a writing community, we do have that. And again, it's totally free to join our writing community. Number 5, motivation. I really find sometimes I'll have an idea, and I'll kind of flesh it out in my own mind, but it's not until I talk to someone else about it that they give me their thought, and I'll be like, oh yeah, and then blah 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 blah. So you may get to this one point where you've taken it to where you can, and all it takes is this one word, one sentence, one input from somebody else who has an energy for what they just heard from you. And their feedback then can spur you into just like a landslide of more ideas and more motivation. So workshops and writing communities are so important to really engage in, because that collaboration, that synergy that you get will spur more motivation. Number 6, craft improvement. Now, what I mean by that, when you're in a workshop, it really focuses on specific writing elements, different things that will help you either go through the process of, identifying your story, or process of writing, honing your writing skills, whatever it is in that workshop. But all of those different things will really strengthen your ability and your craft. Number 7, networking. Whether I went through breast cancer a couple years ago, so I often make references to that. But when I found out, one of the first things I did was I searched for Facebook groups that were centered around breast cancer. So in doing that, I was able to meet others who were going through different parts of the journey that could tell me what my reports meant, and your labs. And when you're doing that, they give you energy. They hold your hand. They carry you through your tough moments. And it's the exact same in almost any sort of a situation where you have a workshop or a group with they have the same goals. You're able to network with each other, get to know each other. You're establishing relationships. It could be beneficial for future, projects together. It might just be the person that you meet gives you the will to push through a tough moment. When you have these people in your life that have common goals with you, it's not all, when I say networking, it's not always about future financial gain, because a lot of people associate networking with that, but it could be, but it doesn't have to be. Just sometimes the ability to take the next step, that sometimes is all you need. And the networking aspect and making friends is super vital to that. Number 8, confidence. When you get positive feedback, when somebody says, oh my gosh, that's such a great idea, or even just hearing, if it's in a group and they're typing it, or if you're in a meeting, a live meeting or something, and just seeing someone smile, having that interaction from others will boost your confidence and again spur your motivation to keep going. And sometimes you may be like losing energy, and that's when you need to make sure that you get plugged back in, whether it's by going back to the group or going to a workshop. You really need to plug back in. And then number 9, overcoming challenges. Workshops provide strategies that handle, typical memoir writing challenges. So whether it's, I want to talk about this, but this part has to be told, but it's boring. And then, how do we feed this information without boring the reader? There's things like that you're going to face in your memoir writing journey. There's going to be a lot of things like that where you won't know how to kind of spoon feed the reader the boring stuff, where they don't even feel bored. They don't even notice you're spoon feeding them until it all makes sense, because you've used foreshadowing, you've used other techniques that have moved the story forward, and you've then enabled your reader to enjoy the journey and enjoy going through the learning things that could have been boring. But going through your writing workshops, that's where you learn this stuff. You can learn it in videos with me as well, but it's also in those workshops. So if you're not involved in workshops, I really recommend it. And again, just a shameless plug. The I Remember When project is something that you really should consider. It's quite reasonably priced for especially all that you're getting. And the approximately monthly, so about 12 workshops that we will have live will carry you through if you let it. All right. And then number 10, inspiration. When you share and you listen to personal stories, they can inspire you. You may not have the same experiences other people have had, but just seeing them go, sharing their stories and how they went through, the bowels of hell, and they came out the other side, and they're stronger and they're confident and they're happy. And you're like, wow, that's so awesome. And you feel happy for them. But then at the same time, you feel, because you see that it's possible, that other people are doing it, then you're like, I need to plug in and get this going. It's very it's therapeutic. It really is. There's so many benefits to workshops. If you haven't been to one, it may be a little intimidating because you're going into an area, whether it's a Zoom meeting or whatever. You're going into a situation that you don't know, you may not be comfortable with, you may feel a little self-conscious or whatever, but don't, because every single person starts somewhere, and it's just, it becomes a family. It's a really, really great environment. I hope to see you at one of our I'm the Writer workshops, and I Remember When specifically for the memoir. And let's move on.